Cam Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the Sportsbook Tuesday night. Thanks for tuning in. Crazy weekend. Friday games. Cavaliers bounce back,
Yes.
take control, win by 22. You're thinking, all right, the Cavs are back. The Cavs are back. They just had to make an adjustment. They played
Right.
well. But you know what's scary about the Pacers is everybody's back, everybody's healthy. They got
Yes.
their total unit.
Yeah, they're
And every
complete.
yeah, and everybody's back and got healthy. It just kind of all worked out. Um,
Hmm.
and they're going to be a force, as we'll talk a little bit later about how big of a force they're actually going to be. And then you had the Thunder and the Nuggets. The Nuggets pulled it out in overtime, 104.
Hmm.
That was another good game.
Yes. Yes. I got a chance to watch most of the games. Mostly the games over the weekends. I did get to catch the end of the Thunder Nuggets game. It was a pretty good game. It was pretty close up to the end there. Then it went into overtime and but I'm talking about another game. Yes, I am talking about this game. Yeah, it went into overtime. I thought that OKC was gonna do one of their deals and snatch this one, but it went into overtime and Denver really showed the thing. And once again, Aaron Gordon came through. Much play.
Absolutely, they had great off the. I mean, the starters read 22, 21, 20, 27, 8
Hmm.
for. I mean, that's a uh, great start. And what's so crazy is SGA. They're like, he had a bad night. He had 18. It's not like that isn't a. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I know,
I'll
but
take
there's so.
those 18.
I know, but he averages 33, and he's a
Right.
tough one. He's a tough one for to bet with on the player props, and the reason being
Hmm.
is as we've seen when they go up, they're pulling them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's it. And the same thing if like when they blew out the Nuggets, they pulled Yoka. You know what I mean? So it's like that was it.
Hmm.
It was That's what makes it hard. You have to when you're doing player props, it's got to be a close. You have no control, but I'm saying it's best when it's a close game because usually
Right.
they're gonna sit them in the third, bring them back in the. But if they're up by 20, like some of the scores that we've seen at times, they're
Hmm.
just not. They're gonna let the bench.
Yeah,
They're
they're
gonna
just gonna they're gonna sit the starters and let the bench play.
right. Um, Let me see here. 12th. Okay, let me go back. Try to pull up, pulling them up as we speak.
Right.
Um, so then you go to Saturday's games.
Hmm.
Celtics come back, Celtic way, 115-93.
Yes.
They
A lot
definitely,
of a lot of easy shots were blown by New York. A lot of easy shots. And the Celtics just dominant, Celtics when Al Horford is on, they're a complete team, complete package. And he was
yeah,
on. He
he
was
was.
on in that game. Um the Knicks, if the Knicks had of kind of kept the tenacity, they probably would have took this game. But they couldn't hit those easy buckets. They were easy buckets and easy scoring oppositions for them that I saw. That kind of got fumbled. I understand that Boston was applying pressure, but they were in New York,
Yeah,
and it
that's
was
true.
getting quiet in that at the end of the third and the fourth quarter. It was getting quiet
In the arena.
in in the arena. Thank you.
Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I
I
mean,
couldn't say that
uh,
word for some
yeah.
reason.
And Jalen Brunson, I mean, he had a game, he had 27 points, but
Yes.
but he got to have help. Can't carry the
Hmm.
team. He can't carry the team. And Anthony Towns had a good game. Uh,
Hmm.
OG only had 2 points. Bridges had 12. Josh Hart only had 10. Usually they give you a little bit more than that. And Boston
Yeah,
was playing their tight
right.
defense.
And in order for New York to win, the Josh Harts and those guys, they're going to have to give you, 15 and up,
Right.
especially when Boston is, when they're in their bag, as they say, like Saturday night. They were
Yeah.
determined to take that game, and they showed up. They showed
Oh
up, and
no.
and they did the thing. They did the thing.
Well, I mean they knew
Uh,
they couldn't go down 3-0.
no, no, they weren't coming back from that.
No.
They weren't coming back
Uh,
from that. I would like to see more. I would like to see. I would like to see more of. I can't. I don't understand why I can't think of Tatum. I would like
yeah.
to see Tatum get more to the hole and you know create some foul shots for himself. Now I understand. I understand, and he comes off the Kobe tree.
Yeah.
So so I understand his type of play. I just would like to see him operate more inside. That would help him out, I would think. Get inside, get some fouls, get in, get under the rim, make him work, make Carl Anthony work, make him work up under there.
Yeah.
But
Don't
but
just give him the paint. Yeah, I agree. I definitely
right,
agree.
right. But they did an excellent job. They won the game. They fought it out. But I just feel like I would like to see more of that. But that's just me personally. I don't know how
Yeah.
everybody else feels. If you feel the same way, get in the comments and let me know. Would you like to see him more of a dominant force and use some of his inside game as well as his jump shot too?
Going to the Timberwolves and the Warriors. No Steph
Mm-hmm.
Curry.
No
Miss
Steph.
this. Yeah, no Steph. Miss this prop. We had talked about it. Jimmy Butler, and I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, well, he's going to go off. Steph's not there. Couldn't get the bet in it in time. Missed it, and Jimmy had 33. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but Draymond only had two. Usually, like when they were showing a stat and they were saying when Draymond has nine or more, it's like a 89% that they win the game. When he has it's
Yes.
some stat they gave, and it was really interesting. I mean, he does all he does. It's just like you said, getting everybody to contribute. That little, if he puts 10, on, that's just 10 more that Steph,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, um, Buddy Healed, and the rest of the field, and
Yeah.
then it takes off. That now what's funny is, off the bench of Golden State, Kamunga had 30.
Which
I mean
is
kept him in. That's what really kept them in
it's
this game, because
right.
without that, that would have been this could have been, and it was only it was only a 5 point game. But
Mm-hmm.
going forward, I see, um, it's going to be hard if Steph can't come back. Anthony Edwards went off too. Anthony Edwards, when
Yes.
he got 30, he had 36. I mean, he was a machine in him.
Yeah, he was lights out. He was
Yeah,
lights
he
out.
was out.
But
But without Steph, I mean, do you think they? I mean, do you think they? It's really hard.
without Steph, they're not gonna beat the Timberwolves because you need Steph energy and you need Steph on the court because he moves all the time off ball. When the ball is not as in his hands, he's still moving around, creating mix matches and creating a opportunity for him to make a shot or make a play or get somebody else open. And with the type of and with the injury that he has, even when he does come back, it's gonna take a little bit for him to get back to planning and moving around, on that hamstring. So it'll
Yeah,
be
it's going to
interesting to
be.
see when he comes back. But when he's not there, that's when Buddy Healed, uh Gary Payton Jr. These are the guys that need to try to fill that void. Can't replace Steph. But if you
No.
can fill that void, you'll be fine. Jimmy's gonna do what Jimmy does.
Yep.
Uh, and if Draymond can hit 9 or 10 points, that's just enough for them to kind of, pay attention to him more as a scoring threat. He'll never, something that he's not usually a scoring threat, but
Right.
if he could give them 10 plus, then it'll be a problem because now you got to worry about Draymond. He's got a hot hand too. So I
I get.
think Buddy
I'm.
Hield, GP
But here.
Jr., and Draymond over 10 points, and then they'll make it a more competitive. It's already a competitive series, but I think it would be a little more tenacity, a little more concentration going on if they could, if those three could elevate and help Jimmy out in his absence. So when he comes back, it's not such a hard hill to climb.
I totally agree. I think going forward. I mean, what's crazy is I've seen Green get on this. I can't remember what game. It's been a few games ago. I mean, hit three threes. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Draymond. I'm like he got. I mean, he can. I mean,
Like
there ain't no doubt. Yeah,
where is that? Where is
yeah.
that Draymond?
He finished with 16 that night, which was I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. But
You
he
get a couple
does.
of games, get a couple of games with him, 16 points somewhere in there, that should be a victory for them.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now going to Sunday games, the Thunder and the Nuggets. The Thunder came out and beat the Nuggets 92-87. But it was it's
Hmm.
interesting. So OKC's offense can be stopped. It can be slowed down. We've seen that in this series. We've
Hmm.
seen it. We also see that they could get it. And this was 92-87. That I mean, this was a close game. Could have went either way. SG had 20. He had 25. Trying to see. Yoke had 27. Murray had 17. Christian Braun had 17. And there was a lot of good props on this one. Um,
Hmm.
but it was just kind of interesting because watching the game, I mean, the Nuggets are lacking. I mean, just like you said, they're lacking a little. I mean, if they had, they're that's a bad team, right? There's no doubt about it. But the scoring power of the Thunder, I think it's 2-2. But I think it's going to be too much. I just think there's too many options. Now, had any given night, the Nuggets can beat the Thunder. But like you always say, it's the series, so that's a whole different deal. You know what I mean? Then it's a whole
Hmm.
different deal. But any night heads up, yes, the Nuggets could easily beat the Thunder. But not. I just don't see it in a. I just don't think they have enough firepower to keep it. They can keep it down low, but then when the Thunder does break out, because they will break out on you, and they'll give you a
Hmm.
20 piece quick, and you'll be like,
Yes, they
"Ooh,
will.
yeah." And
Where
the,
did
and
that
the
come
Nug,
from?
yeah, the Nuggets they don't play. That's not their type of ball. You know what I mean? They're down and dirty. He's earning every point he's getting. They're making you earn it. So that's the only thing. But I mean, it's like I said, it's 2-2 now. So that you still got the rest of the series and anything can happen.
Hmm.
That's for sure. But this next game, yeah, the Pacers beating the Cavs 129-109. I mean, my hat's off to not that I mean, I was rooting for the Cavaliers. I didn't really give Indiana. I remember we talked when it first, I said, well, they match up well. They should probably give them a run. I was wrong. They can beat them. There's no doubt about it. Indiana is, I didn't realize that everybody came back and everybody's healthy. They're not having
Yeah.
any issues. And holy cow. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The way they're playing right now, I mean, if I was them, if they can get by the Cavs, they still got to win this series. It's 3-1. I know they're up, obviously. But the way they're playing right now, why should they be afraid of Boston? Why should they be
Right.
afraid of the Thunder? I
And
mean,
And they did. They went. Then they went against Boston in the Eastern Conference Championship. No, yes. Didn't they go
Well, you
against
talk.
Boston in the
Well,
Eastern Conference
well,
Championship last year?
I believe. Let's. I
Or was they
man.
one tier? Was they one tier from the Eastern Conference Finals, or did they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Let me see. I'm trying to last year's
Because
NBA.
and I'm trying to go off memory, and that's probably a bad idea in today's sports.
Let me
Because
see.
stats are so,
Right. It's kind of hard.
yeah,
Um.
because you could just plug it in your phone and the answer will come right there, but you try to rely on memory. Don't
Yeah.
put too much into this technology, y'all. Use your own your biological technology. Give your brain a chance. Google's
Um.
trying to put your brain out of business, but that's another show.
Right.
This is a sports show.
Right. We don't
But
do
serious,
that. We don't.
but yeah, but on a serious note, while you searching that up on a serious note, uh,
Boston Celtics game 5. You're right. No, no, you were
I was right.
Indiana. Yeah, yeah. Indiana. They signed out. Indiana Pacers were knocked out of the playoffs last year by the Boston Celtics in 5 games. The Pacers won the first 2 games at home, but the Celtics won the next 3 games on the road. So that's
Right.
um
But so this
so
is a team that's capable. They
yes.
just have
No,
to be
no.
consistent. If everyone stays healthy and stays uh in the zone like this last game, they they earn their right to be right up there with the rest of them,
So
especially with the
what do you
problems that New York having.
yes, yes. We'll get to that too.
Yeah, we'll
So
get to that.
what do you think's going on with the Cavs though? They're just not making the shots. They're just not they just seem off. I mean,
Right.
obviously that's easy to say, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
um,
It's just it's playoff basketball. The whistles are tucked in. You're not going to get your easy foul. You're not going to get your cheap foul. And normally NBA playoff basketball is, they let you get a little. They let you work for it. You
yeah,
know, and so some of the fouls you think you're going to get, you're not going to get, and some of the things that they normally would call during the regular season are going to slide in the playoffs. That's why we say playoffs is a whole different animal, for the regular season in both sports. Even in football, it's the same way. You're going to get a
yep,
different team during the playoffs. And this is just part of it, part of the growing pains of becoming one of the top tier teams in sport is that you learn that okay, playoff basketball is different. You hear it, they tell you about it, the coach talks about it, but there's nothing like experience. And once you get out there and you find out real quick, like, oh, okay, this is big boy basketball. This is the
right,
real deal here. So, and that's just part of it, the growing pains of becoming that team that's on its way up. You find out how the playoffs work and you figure it out, and then you go a little further, then you go a little further, and then next thing you know, you're competing for that trophy. But
yeah.
that's what Cleveland's going through, the growing pains of playoff basketball. And they still
And
have a good shot at winning this series. They do
yes,
have
they
the
are.
talent, but
Yes,
can you
yes,
step
they
up
do.
to the plate? Can you
Yeah,
step up to the playoffs plate?
yeah, three. It's 3-1. Um, but at the end of the season, remember Cleveland kind of streaked. They kind of had a crash.
Mm-hmm.
Lost a couple games. It wasn't anything. I mean, they still had an awesome year. Do you think they overlooked Indiana? Do you think they could have looked past them?
I don't think they look past them, but I do think that uh, they they underestimated how good they were. Okay, they're good. Their record that's regular season. You know,
Yeah.
but once you play against them, then you're like, oh, okay, these boys are really like that.
Right, right, right,
So
right,
so
right. I
so
mean, yeah,
that's the part. Yeah, that's the part that Indiana ran into. It's like, whoa, these guys are really they really like that. That's just not a regular season fluke. So
right.
we have to ratchet our play up. And now that they got all their players back, yeah, this is good. Yeah, great basketball all the way around. But this one more intriguing because can
Yes, it really.
Indiana get over the hump or will the Cavaliers? you
come
know,
back.
come back.
Yeah, whichever. Yeah, I mean that. If like I said, the Cavs are down 3-1. I think you could get them, and the numbers change all the time. I think you could get them at 500 or 700 plus to win the series. I mean, that's kind of a. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. This is crazy. I took Indiana Pacers to win. This has happened to me twice betting them +7. Somewhere in there was a glitch, or it wasn't a glitch. I don't know. It wasn't. They were down. They came back. There, whatever happened, they down, and they actually were plus like 12. So I doubled down on them. Took them again. Won the 7, won the 12 because they came back, and it's kind of like one thing about watching them. I see them, and 20 is not a lot for them, and they're not really. I know, and they're not really like franticking at 14, 20 points. They get
Right.
back in it, and they have the shooters, they have the scorers, they have the dynamite, and I feel like they have this, like we're always in it. Kind of like
Yeah.
KC a couple years ago. How much time we
Mm-hmm.
got? 10 seconds? Oh yeah, I got. Come on, let's
Okay,
go
yeah,
out there.
we
Let's
got
do it.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, we got this. And so that's kind of me watching them play. That's how to me they're playing. They're playing very confident, not arrogant, but very confident. Like, oh, okay, we're down. We need to do
Mm-hmm.
this, and they're putting it all together. And again, they have the firepower to come back, and you've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in this, let me go back a second. Just want to make sure. Yeah, so going in, so this game they were already up. Going into the half, it was 80 to 39. So that game they were total. They had total. That
Mm-hmm.
was
Total
Sunday's
dominant.
game. That
So
yeah,
yeah,
they
total
were
dominance over
yeah,
that game.
yeah. And like I said, I think Cleveland came in a little flat Sunday night, and I think again, I the Pacers are just playing really good basketball. Um, they got a really good team, and everybody's healthy, and the Cavs are just having a problem. And like I said, yeah, the Cavs they can still come back. But they're in a deep, steep
Yeah.
hill.
Yeah, they got a
Like
yeah, they got a long ladder to climb up.
they do. There's no go now. Now the game going on tonight while we're talking, the Celtics are up 55-47 with the Knicks. New
Mm,
York leads the series 2-1. The other night, the Knicks, and I'm saying this, but I'm going to stand on this. They had a chance to put Boston in a bad spot, and they kind of fumbled it. And it was
hmm.
like, man, you had them on the ropes. If you would have went up 3-0, man, you would have
Hmm.
been. But Boston came back,
Yeah.
and won that game, and showed like, oh, this is who we are, and really kind of they were a little rough on uh NBA score. Let me see.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, it was like, oh, okay. And let me go back. Wasn't that? It was. And so that was my thought process. My thought process, yeah, it was 115-93. And I said, man, just watching the game, I said, uh, you're not gonna let them come back. And Boston took the lead first quarter and never looked back. And that was it. I
Hmm.
mean, they outscored Boston in the fourth, 23-19. But by that time, it didn't even matter.
Right.
And Boston's kind of got their swag back. But it's 56-47 right now.
Hmm.
So let me ask you this: the rumor mill is Giannis is looking for some deals, looking to see if he can go somewhere. He's
Yeah.
trying to see. It's not a rumor. That's a fact. He's
Yeah.
interest. He's entertaining offers. That's a good way of putting it.
Hmm.
He's entertain. Entertaining
But
offers, but I don't know. I mean, they say he loves New York. I don't know. He loves New York
maybe
City.
who are they gonna give up for? They're gonna give who Cat and two other people for Giannis.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Giannis
that's
Bronson. That's more
yeah.
more more reliable and a more dominating force, more dominating big. I mean,
Yeah,
Cat is who Cat is, but you know what Cat is. With Giannis,
that's
he can spread the floor, run the floor, get a shot
right.
in, create his own shot, get to the lane. You know, he's forced to be. He's a force. He's a force, and because I'm not sure of how many teams can make it happen to get
How
him
many
there.
teams that could afford the teams that could afford to get him may not be the teams that he wants to go to win another championship. So when you
Hmm.
throw that in, there's a lot of what ifs here. I need someone to pay me
Right,
what I want. Okay, we got somebody, but I want to win a championship. Okay, not them. And then you start looking around and you go, well, nobody
right.
who's in that bracket that is was like one step over, um, would be who has that kind of money to pay you. And the Bucks, I think, are I don't know 20-30 million dollars underneath the cap. Um, and so I guess he's getting the feeling like, hey, they're not going to spend the money for because obviously this
Nah.
year they're a good team, but they need
Hmm.
in order to win a championship, they need some more parts. They
Hmm.
just need some more parts. And but they'll as long as he stays there with the team he has, they'll they'll be a winning team and they'll go to the
Yeah,
playoffs. Maybe make a little run, but not champion. There's just too
yeah.
much.
Not a championship run. It's just too much. They're
Yeah,
missing
there's
too
too much.
much. And
Yeah, there's
the ones that they have, are starting to go on the other side of the hill, if
yeah,
you will,
yeah,
because they did win a championship and have been bounced ever since that championship.
yeah.
They've been bounced early. So I get it. And it's like the teams that could afford to give up a lot to get them, the OKCs, the Houstons, the young teams, do they really want to do that? Do you want it's like let's take San Antonio for instance.
Right.
They have, they
Yeah,
could
yeah,
probably work up a deal to get Giannis, but
yeah.
you got your future star there. Do you want to do
Right.
that? You know? So, and then you got them where you can, you got them at a discount right now.
Yeah, right, right. You're gonna
Right
have
now.
to
So,
you're
yeah.
gonna have to pay him. Hey, when we get back,
So,
we're gonna take a break. When we get back, we're gonna talk a little more basketball, and then lot just some stuff going on in the NFL that was kind of crazy. Some crazy news.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some
that I don't know
crazy
what's going on.
news, some crazy
Yeah.
stuff going on.
So don't forget, guys, give us a call at 318-221-5422. That's KM Radio. All right, we'll be back right here on KM Radio. Tony G, Big Lou, Tuesday night, the sports book on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Ham.
KM Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, the sports book. Like I said, reach out to us on our Facebook page, the sports book, or KM Radio. If you have any kind of public announcements or you have any community groups that, need anything from a DJ to spots to rent, KM Radio has all kind of great stuff. They work with the community. So give them a call, 318-221-5422. All right, break the news, Lou.
Breaking news in the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks have won first overall pick for the 2026 NBA season. I just received the news via NBA Central is the source. The Dallas Mavericks have won the first round pick in next year's draft. So are we looking at Cooper Flag to add to the rotation? How are we going to do this? It's going to be exciting to see. It's going to be exciting to see who they pick as their number one player to go along with the other guys. Now, question Tony asked me during the break was, is AD going to stay in Dallas? And that's a good question because I haven't seen anything in the news about was there any whispering in the news about him leaving or probably leaving or throwing the hint out there. I hadn't heard anything yet, but as we record, I'm checking as we speak to try to confirm that information, and I will get with y'all as soon as I find out what's going on with that. But wow, go
That's
figure.
great. So
Yeah,
let me ask you this now. They do the lottery pick. So Dallas gets it, and all right. But what about? It's not as crazy, but how does the Washington and the Charlottes ever get better if they never get? How does that work?
I don't I
I
don't
don't.
understand that dynamic either. The Washington Wizards. How do these teams get better if the good teams are getting the picks? And it's a lottery, but it just feels like that the teams that didn't have so great of a record, you know, you would think that they would fall into that lottery better than
Well,
Dallas because
I know
go
why
ahead.
I know why they did it. I mean, it cut you off because they said they didn't want people tanking or whatever. Okay, I understand all that, but at the end of the day, in the NFL, the worst teams get the best to try to make parity in the NFL. And honestly, I think it's worked. If that was the goal to get parity in the NFL, I think it's I think it's worked pretty good. I mean, you still got I mean just because you get a number one pick, but there's been some teams that, look at Miami. I mean they got all kind of number one picks and then they, evolved and granted they haven't won the championship, but I'm saying definitely a better product than before.
Mhm.
Washington was in the dumps for, I mean, the Redskins really hadn't been the Redskins. And I mean, RG3 was a little flash, but it's been a long
Yeah,
time since they've raised a Super Bowl, the Joe Theismann days and all that. But so to me, that works. But I mean, and the percentage chance of them winning was like 1.8. It wasn't like they had a huge, and they won it. And, but that does change. It definitely changes a lot because if you're bringing Cooper Flag, AD stays, Kyrie stays, because they really, I mean, granted, they made it. The trade's the trade.
Yeah.
They traded him.
yes,
Okay, that it's done. It's
right.
over. Yeah. So, but right now, I mean, you're not Washington. You're not Charlotte. I mean, you're way above that. So you get a number one pick. Dallas is a great city. So but there are people that might say, hey, kind of, I want to come.
Hmm.
Not ridiculous. I know it sounds crazy, but not ridiculous on taxes because a lot of these players look at all that stuff. Like, yeah,
Yeah, no state tax.
California's,
Yeah,
yeah, brutal. I mean, them
killing
guys
it.
give up a lot of their money. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
so so Dallas could be right back in the hunt. You know what I mean? But that goes back to my question. But what happens to the bottom of the Brooklyn? Are they gonna?
Yeah,
I don't. I guess you got to look at it like it was kind of like
yeah,
when Brooklyn put the big three together, and
yeah,
I still was questioning that. I was like, well, I understand what they were doing, but it was like out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, let's, and it fell apart, and it just fell apart. Injury, didn't they didn't GI together, whatever the word is.
yeah. Then you had a brand new head coach, in Steve Nash. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that
true.
rubbed them guys the wrong way. I think that, but
Yeah,
I feel like Steve Nash has put the work in to be respected.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
come on,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but come on, you got to alpha males, dominant.
yeah.
You know,
That's that. You're right. That's very. And with
championship winners because they can hold over his head. Hey, I understand, coach, but you hadn't won that trophy.
Yeah, no, no, no.
We've
That's
all
that's
won the trophy besides
yeah,
Harden,
Harden.
of course. But yeah,
Yeah,
so it's hard to can you really talk to these guys? Can you really coach them
yeah.
when they feel
No,
like they're more accomplished than you are? So yeah, not to say that it's
so
his fault,
no,
but
no, no.
it
They
was
just
part
didn't.
of it.
Yeah, injuries and it didn't. And I quite like Harding. I mean, I like James Harden. He puts up a lot of points.
I love him.
Just yeah, just doesn't just doesn't like the playoffs just don't seem to get him going. I don't know what it is. Like where does he go? Where does he
Regular
go this year?
season sensation. Regular
Yes,
season
yes.
sensation.
You think he goes somewhere else?
Yeah. Maybe, maybe because it's hard. Because him and Kawhi work great together. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
they're not gonna win any championships together. And that's
Right.
what he bought that arena and brought all those guys down there for Paul George and
Yeah.
Harden. But
Did
now
you,
we know that the big three thing is done. I think we can safely say a big three is done. You're gonna get two superstars, and you're gonna build around those superstars with talent, with a talented roster where you can work your new people in and you can have a
bench?
reliable sources on the bench because of how the game is played and how many points are scored and threes are shot. It's more of a shooting game now.
Right.
So
No, no, I agree. I mean, I totally agree. I just, I was just wondering. I was just thinking out loud. We're Harding and,
yeah, like
um,
where's he
but
gonna
that was,
where can he
where's
go? He's a superstar, but he's not a champion.
no, 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 no. And he's been in the league for a minute. I mean, this ain't his fourth year by any means. Uh, but it's just kind of one of those things. And then, and I hate to say this, but without Curry, I think Golden State has made their run. I I, I think
Yeah,
even
they're not winning
yeah,
without
yeah.
Curry.
Even with Curry, if they could have made it past, it would have made a great story. The Smalls just because they did their thing, man. I give them a lot of credit.
Hmm.
Getting past Houston, Minnesota, like I said, without Curry, it just kind of tough. Um, Let me pull this up home. So let's get to it. Derek
Right.
Carr retires.
Derek
What?
Carr, Derek Carr, Sports Army. Look, um, so apparently there was more wrong with that shoulder than we thought.
Yes, that's what I'm
Because
getting to.
yeah, because in order for him to retire, that means that that shoulder wasn't going to get healed anytime soon. And the Saints didn't want him on the books, for that. But so now it's up to either Tyler Shue or Spencer Rattler. Now the front office, they like both. Half of them are high on Spencer Rattler, the other half are high on Shue. So we'll just have to let that one play out. But yeah, they didn't disclose what you know what the severity of his shoulder is, but for him to retire, it's something that's going to take a while to heal.
Well, if you have rotator cuff surgery, I've had that once. Um,
Yes.
it's to get to 100%. It's definitely close to a year. I ain't gonna lie. Had it
Hmm.
done out of January, I would say by the next December, it was 100% because it's a slow process.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
slow getting your strength back. I mean, they'll start you off with lifting a towel. You go to 1 pound, but it's weeks. You got to constantly, and that's rehabbing 3 times a week. Uh, and let's say, obviously, I'm old as dirt, but you're younger. We'll cut some of that time off. But still,
Yeah.
though, it's not a 90-day fix. You know what I mean?
No.
It's definitely. And then I'm sure um, he played 9 years with with the other Raiders. Played 2 years with 2 years with the Saints. He only played 10 games last year. Um,
Hmm.
and to be honest with you, he probably only had 4 good games with you guys.
I would say about four.
Yeah,
About
I mean,
four good
remember
games.
last year when remember when they they were on, and it was like, man,
Yeah, they came out the
yeah,
gate running, and I'm like, hold on, am I wrong about this guy? Was
yeah.
I too harsh on this guy? I mean,
They
I
beat the
still went
Cowboys.
about,
Yeah,
yeah, to
yeah,
beat
they
the
bit. I mean, it was
Cowboys,
like,
and
okay,
I was like, oh, hey, was I
and
wrong? My ego and pride wouldn't allow me to say that I was wrong about Derek Carr. I was like, well,
right,
it's the beginning of the season. Let's let it play out a little bit. Give him a
right,
couple of
right,
more games, and then you can voice your opinion. But
right.
and this whole time, the shoulder was worse. So now was he misdiagnosed? Or there's so many holes in this. It's like we're not getting all of the layers. They're just giving us the top and the bottom of the bread. Yeah. Oh yeah, Derek Carr. Yeah, his shoulder's not ready, and now yeah, he's retiring. He doesn't want to play football no more. Okay, what's all in the middle? Give us the middle. So
Yeah.
as the story develops and as we get more information, we'll get it to you, Sportsbook Army.
Here's another thing though, added to it. I mean, he took a pounding in with the Raiders. He did. He took a pounding.
Yes, their offensive line was terrible.
I mean, he took a pounding. Um, so I wonder how much money the Saints get to clear off that,
Hmm. That's a
because
good
that may
idea.
free up.
That's a good idea,
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah, because it may free up some stuff he's retiring. I know they got to pay
Yeah.
some, but maybe they can. Because
Yeah,
the thing
maybe.
is listening to other people talk. Um, if the Saints tank next year, okay, and they get the number one draft choice next year, it'll be Manning.
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, I don't know
Yeah. And
which would be a franchise. It'd be pretty amazing that he would come to the Saints and his grandfather played for the Saints.
yeah, that would be the
Let's,
ideal story. That would be the
yeah,
perfect story for the
yeah,
NFL and for the New Orleans Saints.
yeah. They still got
And
a
he
lot of other
comes
stuff
and
they need
takes
to
them
work on.
back to victory. Oh, of course. Yeah. There's
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
whole team that we got to get together. Uh and other uh football news, of course, George Pickens got traded to Dallas. So with him and CeeDee Lamb, those should be some good offensive weapons for them.
But
That
I
should be
will
some.
say this now. I will say this. Every time Pittsburgh trades somebody, I really start to go, huh? Because if you notice, they've traded some, they've traded some top people, and then those top people you go, oh, I know now why they traded. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, they let go a bad to the bone running back. Where is he? One of the greatest wide receivers ever to play the game. Where was he? You know what I mean? I mean, every
Mm-hmm.
time they let somebody go, and I'm going to try to do some investigation on the Pickett because there's something more to that. I know he's a talent, but there's got to be because there's articles saying why did the Steelers did they get is he hard to deal? I don't know any of this, but usually the Steelers they don't just throw people away unless they're not a fit for the organization or they're
Yeah, they have some type of disciplinary problems, or if they
right.
can't do it the Steelers way, then they give them every opportunity. But if they don't do it the Steelers way, they kind of send them on. They
Yeah,
send them on and let them build their careers elsewhere. They've done it. They've done it a couple of times with this. I'll say disgruntled
yeah,
wide
yeah, yeah.
receivers.
Yeah. I mean, now they let him go, but at the same time they have DK Metcalf. You know what I mean? And he's
Yes.
not. He's definitely not a DK Metcalf. Um,
Mhm.
but the thing with the problem that I have with DK Metcalf is I just trying to figure out who's going to throw him the ball. If you could just tell me
Absolutely.
that little part of the puzzle, and then I'll be okay. I'll just be like, oh yeah, now I see why you got him. Because right now I don't know who's throw. I don't throw. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
don't.
don't know
You know.
who's going to get me the ball. Who's going to throw it?
Yeah.
Who's going to get my catches, get my touches.
Yeah, I don't know,
Okay,
and I don't know what you got.
I don't know. And okay, when are we going to just say, okay, this is enough? Why does it always have to be a spectacle with Aaron Rodgers and where he's going to play? Is he
I
just
don't know.
playing
I
this
don't.
out so he don't have to show up to, involuntary workouts and things of that nature? Because if you don't want to play football anymore, just say you don't want to play football anymore. But it's just wearing out on me, and I'm trying to respect him as a player because he did earn the accolades that he received. But
Right.
he hasn't, there's a lot of quarterbacks under him that came in after him that, I feel like deserve more credit than he's getting right now. He hasn't done anything in the last 5 seasons for me to warrant this behavior. This
Right.
I don't I and I just don't get. I understand he's a Hall of Famer, you know, maybe, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's definitely top tier, but I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
understand why teams are drunk over all of this pageantry. I don't get that
Yeah.
part. Because
I
I
don't.
would want my quarterback to be in building, recruiting guys, getting the team, getting with the team, doing everything that he needs to do to win this team over and to
Right.
PC it up from this Jets debacle. You would think that you would want to clean your. I need to clean up my PR. I need to clean that up. I need to show a team that it's just not about me. I really love this game of football and I want to play. Because he's making it very hard for people like me to buy into that. It shouldn't take
No,
this
so
long. You know if you want to
no,
play football for a team or not.
he's just playing. I think he's just playing the. I think he likes the media. I think in some ways he plays it off like he doesn't, but I think there's some kind of way because there's. But here's the other deal. Why does the media keep? Why not just let me know where you're gonna play. Okay, get back to me. I'll call you. But we
Right.
got to foul. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's been 5 years. The New York Jet, and here's the deal: he's a 42-year-old quarterback. Um, and my thing is where is he going? Where can he go? That that okay? Let me say this. I believe if Patrick Mahomes went down, he'd be a good backup for that position. Same thing for the Bills. Same thing for Philly. I think, and then now listen to what I'm saying. But these teams I just told you, they're already set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 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 they don't need him. The only teams that I mean, the teams that seem to entertain him are ones thinking they can put together this one hitter quitter, and we could, because the Jets apparently really thought they hyped him up so much that I was starting to go, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe the Jets. And then
Maybe,
game
yeah,
time
maybe they
came. Yeah. And then they did beat the Bills. The defense was tough, but it was a lot more hype than it was. It was a lot of bark, very little bite. And to me, you had a coach that was so arrogant that it came across as being arrogant and like, oh my God, dude, you haven't won anything. Calm down. You know what I mean? And you're right back where you were. You know what I mean? It's like you went back to where you started from. You might not be a head coach. It's not for everybody. I get that. But no, I'm with you because I just don't see him. And that's the thing with Metcalf going to the Steelers. Does Metcalf make the Steelers a better team? Now, before before anyone takes this wrong, to me, he would make anybody with a bad to the bone quarterback 100% better. But again, I don't know who's throwing the ball to him to
right,
capitalize. To me, that's like me and you always talk. It's like that's like you. That's like somebody saying, "Yeah, we're gonna get the best running back in the world." We don't run the ball. We pass. Then why did you get the best
right.
running back? I just don't understand. I mean, it just doesn't. We're just gonna have him for show. Metcalf out
Yeah.
there. Maybe
just
everybody's
out
just
there,
scared of him.
just running
Yeah, because we
routes
can't get him
and
the
not
ball.
getting
Yeah,
any passes thrown to him. It's just
I don't know.
I'm just sick. I'm just sick of the pageantry, and there's nothing
Yeah,
to back that up. There's nothing to back that up.
no, no. I
They should have
totally agree
just
with
got
you.
Kirk Cousins and let Kirk Cousins get them back to 500, and they draft quarterback.
Yeah,
He's
could
going
I
to
mean?
cost just
Yeah,
as much. So
yeah,
I
yeah. There's
that's just me. I just don't get that. He hasn't done nothing to get the pass that he's getting with this type,
yeah.
with this,
All that, yeah. But again, I blame the media too for digging
yeah.
in. For letting him dictate and want to listen on every whim. Like, where's she going? And he's going to change. Um, and it's just like, man, I don't see it. And then a lot of people are opening day game is Philadelphia and Dallas. I guess there's people that they don't like that game. They shouldn't play. I like it. I
Mhm.
like it because it's gonna be um because with that defense coming back, with Philly coming back with everybody, provided no injuries, I mean, they have a really good shot of winning another Super Bowl because that defense is a machine. I mean, like I said, you saw
Mhm.
we watched it. I mean, they rushed four guys, and they were causing havoc.
Yeah.
So that being said, that's the. I mean, granted, there'll be more footage, and there'll be people always change stuff up, but so are they. They're going to be
Mhm.
changing stuff up. They're not going to be the same. But it will be interesting to see. I like that matchup. First game of the season, Cowboys
I do
Eagles.
too.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of iconic. And
Hmm.
maybe I don't know. And like I said, I'd rather them than my Bills. That's for sure. I don't want the first game to be because I mean they're coming to play. That's what I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I mean, I would much rather get a couple little cakewalks in before we get going. And I ain't gonna lie. I mean, but I ain't
Right.
but better them than me. That's all I got to say. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good game for you.
Yeah.
That's yeah. That's I mean, I'm good with that. Let me see here. I'm trying to pull this up. Boom, 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 boom. All right, we go back to there. So we still got a few minutes. Get my little thing, get my little sheet. All right. Don't forget to give KM Radio a call at 318 221 5422. 24 hours of great programming shows. Want to send a shout out to our guys over at Cypress Solar and Roofing, 318 550 5800. Tell them Tony G, Big Lou. Again, this helps us. So these guys are, these are people that we deal with. If we tell you to go there, they'll take care of you. Go see our guys at Once Upon a Diamond at 1003 Piermont Road. Give them a call at 318 868 4945. And don't forget to see our guys over at SI Motorsports at 98 Benton Road, right behind Posadas. That's the easiest right now, in between Posadas and the post office. Let's get back to action. But anyway, so yeah, there'll be a lot of good stuff. Like I said, if you want to jump on, like I said, without Steph taking Minnesota to beat them, I mean, it's just let me. In fact, let's go. Let's see what we got here. Let's
Hmm.
see what we
Because
got.
that
There's no Steph.
is going to be tough with no Steph. I don't see it
It
happening. I don't see it happening
no
without
no.
Steph.
It's definitely. Let's go here. Okay, so you can get the Timberwolves minus 4.5. I mean,
Mm.
that's not a bad bet.
Not
198
bad.
on the yeah, because the money line is 198. I just don't see it. I mean, like I said, I mean, I think Jimmy Butler will go off again. There's no doubt.
Hmm.
You can get him. You can get Jimmy Butler. Let's see what we got here. Jimmy Butler at they're being greedy with him tonight. Uh this is FanDuel at 27 minus 130. His average is only 18. That's why I say that's kind of but Buddy Hield you can get at 11 at 15 at minus 110. But yeah, I think like I said, I think it's uphill for them. You know what I mean? And like I said, I think they had a great run, but I also think that we this will be the last hurrah. I don't know. I mean, they could prove me wrong, but I just think they're going to be too much for them. Too many bigs, not enough score. Just it's going to play out. I mean, and we knew that it probably would, but we didn't know Steph was going to get hurt, and that really changes everything.
Yeah,
Um,
change the whole dynamic of the playoffs for them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like saying your star quarterback is not because let me pull up this real quick from here because I want to
Because
look.
like yeah, like we said earlier, while you're looking your stat up, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
Jimmy Buckets is Jimmy Buckets, but Jimmy Buckets is a lot better with Steph on the court with him.
Oh yeah. There's
Steph
no
on the
doubt. I mean,
court
there's
with
no.
him, then we got a series. But without Steph, without the floor commander, without the guy that creates open lanes, creates shots for other guys, because he's constantly moving around, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, they lost by five, and
Very
so my
difficult.
thing is it's there. And it's going to be a tight game too. Even without, if everybody does what everybody did last game, which is a lot. I mean, because like I said, Jimmy buckets went off, and everyone else went off, and um, so and they were within five. But boy, they cannot slip. They're going to have their foot on the gas. All right, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Their Tuesday night, the Sportsbook. Hit us up on Facebook, Sportsbook or KM Radio. All right, guys, we'll catch you next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Tony G, Big Lou, right here on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Damn.